990WBOB.com, COVIDCast. We are host Pharaoh, number 7 at this point. We're banging them out here every week. Like I said, your host Pharaoh, my co-host, producer, director, Michael Sandoval, and we have my old co-host, and old in both the sense of age and the time period that he used to be my co-host, Mr. Bob Giusti. Bobby, how you doing, brother?
I'm old. Very old.
I know that.
I'm an old guy.
All right, thank you, Bob. Here. That was Bob Giusti, everybody. No.
I'm here in the studio that, Pal didn't want me going out. So no BOB money was spared, and they built me a little studio of my own now. Unfortunately, you guys don't have the equipment to keep up with it. So all these monitors, they don't work. They're basically like a virtual background.
Yeah, the second monitor on the bottom looks like it's on Windows Vista, I think, or Windows XP over there.
It's got the blue screen of death back there.
Yeah.
So, Bob, what else you been doing during this whole COVID bullshit?
Well, let's see. For me, it started March 12th. On March 12th, I found out that 3 recording sessions and 6 gigs were canceled. So
wow,
I was out. Then I don't know, I was lucky because there's a local band called Black Letter, which has Vic Foley in it and Dave Laros, and they were recording in Oneyville. So we went. I'm sorry, some friends just came in. They're going to an airport, so I'm waiting kind of. Anyway. So, what was I saying? See, I'm old and I'm stoned.
You're talking about Black Letter recording.
So I got stuck in a recording studio, which is a great place to be. So actually, every day I'm in a recording studio. Every day I moved all my drums there. I've got different drums set up. What I've been doing is here, free plug. If you have tracks, what we're doing, we've done it for quite a few clients already. They send us the beats per minute and a rough demo of what they want to do, and then we put bass and drums and guitar tracks or whatever they want to it, and then we mail them back their files. They never see us.
Nice.
And so far the results have been amazing. So, and anybody can do this, but we do it better.
Mike, I'm sure you have some nerdy. I'm sure you have some nerdy ass drum question for Bob. Go ahead.
A nerdy? Well, I mean, actually, you mentioned before the show, you say you're working on your rudiments.
Yes.
I guess, is there anything in particular that you wanted to practice on? Is there like anything in particular that you enjoy using as a practice, like a specific exercise or anything like that?
No, the whole idea of all rudiments for me is to build up speed that's clean, precise. I keep my pattern very small, but what I found fascinating about rudiments is I've been reading more up on them, and I know because weren't you a bugle corps guy and stuff?
Yes. Yep. I played trumpet, but I mean I still knew about drums.
You know the history of marching music,
right?
And originally they were military signals. You had the drummers lined up, and the rudiments are actually marching orders for battalions from all over the field of combat.
Right.
So they would hear, for instance, Wipeout. And everybody would leave, go home for lunch. No, I'm kidding. Can you imagine? Wipeout is not a rudiment. That's a trick question.
Anyway, so, Bobby, what do you think? What we're getting close to what, phase 2 now in Rhode Island, which means we talked a little bit of pre-show with clubs being able to open at like 50% capacity at this point.
No, phase 2. No. Correction. Phase 2 will be hairdressers, tattoo artists, and dining inside as opposed to now just outside. I will say there's a club across the street from me. If I could turn the cameras, I would. But they're called Pure. They had just opened. They're a very nice place. The guys, I got to say, I was worried because it's literally directly across the street from me. I mean, they could throw me a beer up to the 3rd floor. And
you can do that now.
First of all, the place looks really nice, and the management and the staff are excellent, I gotta say. So,
All right.
it's been good for them. And then all of a sudden this thing happened. So a brand new business, they put a lot of money in the interior, really nice looking. So, you know, everybody's out of work, whatever. Well, they've been open with the al fresco dining. So they do what I'm going to be talking about when phase 3 comes up, which is music. When phase 3 comes up, they didn't say music specifically, but I asked the governor's office. I said, will that include music? They said, yes. But that's phase 3 is when we get to have 50 people, up to 50 people in a room. Okay. And they're not going to let just any license holder, for instance, in the city of Providence, if you already have your BX entertainment license, like I'll name some clubs, Alchemy, Askew, Ultra's closed. Actually, that's the whole ball of wax right now. In Providence, there's not too many clubs left. But then you go to the Met in Pawtucket, the News Cafe in Pawtucket. These folks all have entertainment license. Yeah. That's right, Dust. There you go, Rick Sutherland. Now, Rick, I'm hoping, I haven't talked to Rick yet. I think Rick's plan will be, every year Rick puts on, as you know, Revival Festival, which he won't be able to do this year. But what he can do, what Rick does have, is those beautiful open bay windows, and he knows how to build an outdoor setup. So actually, the guy, if he spreads it out, he could do shows all summer once they let that in.
And I think their capacity is only like 92 and 98.
Well, again, it's going to be, again, Joe, I can't stress it enough. It's going to be 50 people. That's the limit. And that doesn't include staff. So what you're going to have to do, for instance, I'll give you the bullet points.
Hit us.
What they're looking for is that you sell advanced sales only. For instance, right now, all these dining places, you've got to call and get a reservation. Yeah. If you don't, you're not sitting at the believe it, even the Scurvy Dog, the dive bar, they gotta know in advance. If you happen to pop by, they're not that strict, because if you're a regular, they'll try to make sure. But the whole idea is you gotta have a mask. You're outside. You gotta keep 6 feet at least apart, or 10 feet apart. All right. So that would be the first thing. Is that the thing that I want to do is provide a mask at the door for people. You know how you do a wristband every night? That's right. When we did Mondays on Blast, didn't we have a wristband that changed?
That's not a bad idea.
Right. Well, we're going to give a mask.
That's your wristband. Yeah.
Right. I like and it's going to be different mask for every show, because and we're going to have to do. I found somebody. There are many people who could do it, but I found somebody who said they could do 70 masks in advance, no problem. Why I use the term 70 is because you give a little extra for the band. They're going to want them commemoratively. The band doesn't have to wear them. The rule is you don't have to wear your mask unless you get up to go to the bathroom or you want a smoking break. And then when you're walking around the club. Because here's the second rule. There's going to be no bar service. There will be a bartender, but waiters and waitresses are going to come to your table. You're not going to be allowed to walk around the club drinking beer or walk to a bar. Right. Gotcha. Now, eventually, this is all going to change. I'm willing to bet that they'll do 100 people before they change the rules. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
In other words, the rules at 50 may double to 100 before they're going to change any of the rules. The days of crowding into a bar, I believe, are done until 2022. Yeah. Even the Performing Arts Center just announced that they're canceling their entire season, and when it picks up again, they're gonna go big with some Broadway stuff. So there's hope in the world.
I think like one of the first or second COVIDcasts that we did, me and Mike actually talked about that, and actually I know we talked about it with Kevin Mars from Canerco, about like when's the next time we're all going to be able to pile into a club and mosh in the pit. Like
it'll be a long way out.
I hurt myself when I moshed anyway, but. Yeah, we were thinking like 2022, like it's going to be a couple of years.
Now, can I say something from a musician's point of view? Because we were just making fun of stuff offline. But saying 50 people, that's more than goes to any shows before COVID. But truth be told,
the Providence
local music scene, while very strong and diverse and very extremely talented. I've been in the business for, as you guys know, this is as good a group of musicians Rhode Island has ever had to offer. We have an eclectic group of I can't name you the genres. It's so great.
Yeah, it's there's a band for everybody too, no matter what kind of music you like. Yeah.
It is those musicians that support the scene and only them. So on any given night, when you do have these Wednesday night or Thursday night shows where somebody would get together and promote 4 or 5 bands, you'd be lucky to get 25 people to show up at these things. Some of the bigger bands, like I'm in Eric and the Nothing, or the 12 Teenagers, or the Quahogs, or I'm trying to think of a few. There's a lot of bands that draw. The Silks. Well, whatever. I'm going to leave somebody else.
You could go on for
44, Consuelo's Revenge. You know,
Robbie Shavi. I mean, there's a ton.
Yeah, the ones that do draw, they had to support all the bands, so they'd have 2 support bands, so there'd be 3 bands. The point I'm trying to make is, I don't think music has been very important, live music. Remember, guys, I came up when live music was unbelievable. Everything happened at once, national level and local level. We had an 18-year-old drinking age to prime the pump. And
that was before my time, although I was still drinking at 18.
Joe, that's what set it up. See, people forget.
True.
First of all, you had baby boomers, and that's how rock and roll became popular. Then, as it was becoming popular, you had the 18-year-old drinking age. And even though that went up, we had those people 18, 19, 20, 21. Think of that growth. It went up a year every year. We had those kids. By the time they were 21, they were seasoned club goers. And they stayed with us at least another 5 years before they started families, graduated school, moved away. So it was a phenomenon for us. Second phenomenon that doesn't exist anymore. You didn't have any distractions. In other words, internet, what the hell is that? Nobody could sit at home and play in the internet. Third thing, you had record companies.
Play in the internet.
You had FM radio was very important. Record companies were important. You had tour support. So a little baby band like Red Hot Chili Peppers that we used to pay $250 for, and that's right, 25 people used to show up. Randy used to look at me and go, when are we going to make money on these guys? We would charge $3.50. $3.50. They would get paid $250. They couldn't make it out there if it wasn't for record company support, because $250, that barely paid their hotels. And I mean, they literally had tube socks in their rider. And Brian goes, why do they have tube socks? I go, well, one, they put them over their dicks for the last song, and that's what they come out in. I said, but 2, they don't do laundry. They don't have time to do laundry. That's their laundry. And if one thing you learn on a van, I've been on the road in a van, clean socks are great, believe me, because you don't bother doing laundry for socks and shit and underwear. You carry that shit, it's disposable. All right. So anyway, that was another phenomenon. You had all that support. Now, do you know in Rhode Island we don't even have one radio station that supports any kind of national? I mean, HJY is it, and they're not getting funneled any concert money anymore. Like BRU is gone, right? Okay, so record companies don't even come to this market. Where do they go? They go to the casinos. Casino. All my favorite bands that used to headline a club, they're opening acts these days on a casino act. And why? Because they can get paid more money. The production in these places is fantastic. They've got the best sound systems, the best lighting system. I've got a friend of mine who's the stage manager for Mohegan Sun. And I can tell you, those guys get a state-of-the-art sound system every 9 months, whether they need it or not, because they've got to keep up. And I go, how do you guys make money? He goes, we don't make money here. They make it at the tables.
Yeah, exactly.
We're the lost leader. Hey,
they don't make money in the club.
Yeah,
I mean, look at it though, because if we're going to the casino, I'm sorry, I was messaging our next guest. But if we go to the casino to see a show, I'm gonna go throw $100-200 in a machine or on a table.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna probably get food afterwards. I'm probably gonna get a hotel for the night because I'm driving an hour and change and having a couple.
And on that point, to wrap this up a little bit about the local music scene thing, or just music in general, I used to work for a guy, Mike Kent, who owned many nightclubs. And then I worked for Randy, who owned the one. Now, our business model, which we had built on a necessity, was you pack as many people in, you charge as low a cover as possible, you pay the band out of the door and the expenses, and you hope that they drink like fish. Well, I had Joan Jett once play at the Campus Club, which is now the Coliseum on Pine Street in Providence. We had that whole top floor. I did amazing shows there. I met Bowie. I did Tim Machine there. So I had amazing people play that club. And Mike Kent, the owner, said to me once, I love this guy, by the way. Nobody else did. But because Mike himself, if he was sitting right next to me, said, oh, I can be a total bastard. And he's very calm. So he's got cigars, usually very expensive. And he goes, you know, Bob, I could sell a cocktail and pay for the band right out. Why don't we let everybody into Joan Jett for free? Because I'm telling you, I'll sell more cocktails. And it's like cocktails. We sell beer, and but the point he was trying to make is the markup on alcohol is so much. His feeling was, well, do you know that I approached the agency with that idea? I said, how about we do a free show? And they said, no. We don't give free shows for Joan Jett. Joan Jett's a ticket price. In other words, they didn't want their artists playing free shows unless it was a record company sponsored HJY Bash, which I also had, where there was a line going around the building, and I had Julian Lennon and you name it, playing on one day. All right.
Yeah.
To wrap this all up, what I'm saying is, the local scene has not been kind to local musicians per se. Sound is not always good.
I'm going to put on a T-shirt to make a long story short, Bob Giusti.
Yeah. Well, I can't. I am the story. I'm 63 years of the story.
That's why I love you, kid.
What I'm saying is that people could do this, okay, and play. Eric and the Nothing did some house parties. We're a lucky band. We happen to own a really nice little sound system. So we would take it to a living room or an outdoor place. Not only would we sound better because our PA is great, but we get paid more.
You're mixing your own sound. Yeah,
we get paid more, right? Because people would pay. They wouldn't even give us any guarantee. But what people are, when you've got 50 people watching you in a room or 30, they're compelled to do the tip jar, and they buy more merch than they ever have before. So we were doing those shows and walking out of those shows with way more money than we were getting from splitting a door 4 ways.
Yeah, true.
And so in the future now, what I'm trying to get together with Alchemy right now, Davey and I have been talking, Psycho will also, Psycho's the general manager of Alchemy. So whatever happens, Psycho will run the whole thing anyway, which that's the guy you want running it. But he's got a skew, he's got a similar issue. Dust, we just talked about, the Columbus has that upstairs balcony. They can very easily, it's all set up to go. All they have to do is just spread out the seating. That's all. So more places have this 50 thing than you would think.
Okay.
My internet connection is unstable, by the way. I am unstable. All right, that's it.
Mike,
that's all I got to say about phase 3.
Can you resend the invite to Doug, please?
Yeah, I got you.
He just
technical difficulties at BOB? Impossible.
No, well, we're not in the studio, so.
Oh, by the way,
this is my
can I make up a story?
Poorly made up brainchild.
Can I make up a story?
Yeah, this is about Professor Clyde's. It's Dave.
Clyde.
It's his ghost. Clyde's ghost comes to me, right? And he goes, Bob, they haven't let me on the air in like 3 months. Was this something I said?
Yeah.
It's like, no, man.
He doesn't realize.
That's what he goes. It's dead air. Get it? Dead air. You know one thing about him that we never talk about? Do you know that he was a teacher very early on? A student?
Yes.
He had his
That's
masters.
why we call him Professor David Clyde.
Yeah, I thought just because he was knowledgeable about what he knew.
No,
that's the one thing about him.
Right,
like he didn't know necessarily how to buy socks, but let me tell you, that guy, what he knew about politics or local government, he was a pro at local. I think he should have ran for office when he was younger. But
I would have voted for his crazy ass.
Yeah, any day.
I'd vote for your crazy ass.
I don't agree with 50% of the professor's politics at the time, but remember when I took over his show?
Yep.
When he was sick? I mean, I respected his audience. I didn't go on and do my anti-Trump bit. I did the Clyde show.
Yeah.
We talked with open ears. In other
Well, I
words.
used to,
So,
I co-hosted with them for a while, and I'm not a political guy in any way, shape, or form. Like I know what I want. I know what should happen, and like that's kind of just that's what was always good about Clyde is you could go on and you could give a point of view from just another man to another man, and he'd be like, I never thought of it that way. And
you just went underwater. The other thing, Joe, is you and I we did cars, sports, booze, and I want to bring up Nerd Entertainment. Our favorite show, one of our favorite shows was Sons of Anarchy.
Yep.
The kid who had the shaved head, the mohawk?
Yeah,
what's his name, the actor? He's in Vault.
Oh, I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a
complete
blank.
You know who we're talking about.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
He's in Vault. The movie Vault. Have you guys seen Vault? It's on Amazon.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it
Vault
yet.
No. Just so that you guys know, I lived through Vault when I was a kid. I know the people. Well, they're all dead. But Gerard Ouimet had the pleasure of working for Mr. Ouimet for a brief period of time, doing very legal stuff, I might add. He had a legitimate business. I happen to work with him on his legitimate business. But anyway, these guys, they robbed. It was the biggest heist in history, the bonded vault robbery. At the time, they was reporting that it was $9 million or $12 million in cash. It was actually $30 million in cash.
Oh, wait.
And gold.
I watched that at like 4:00 in the morning the other night. Now that you say that,
well, he's in it.
It's all coming back to me. Yeah,
he plays the leader of the heist, and of course, the great Charles Palminteri plays Raymond. It's all filmed in Rhode Island. Rhode Island's really the star. They do see the scenes in the ACI. I mean, it's the ACI. I know the yard of the ACI. The only thing that they Bonded Vault is not where Bonded Vault was, but the location was changed to protect the innocent. But that was great story. And the other thing is The Mandalorian on Disney Plus is about to start their second season.
I can't wait.
What they've been doing is they've been having this thing called The Mandalorian Gallery, which is a series of documentaries. And I got to tell you guys, I like that as much as I like The Mandalorian because Jon Favreau, I think, is an amazing man, a genius. And his team, he hired the 7 Samurai to direct, all different directors. One of them, for instance, is Bryce Howard. She's the lovely redheaded daughter of Ron Howard. She was in a couple of M. Night Shyamalan films. Well, she's gained a little weight. She's a little rounder now. She's not at her actress rate, but she's beautiful. I love her. And they gave her one to direct, and they gave her the hardest one because she was the least experienced, and their theory was she won't know it's hard, so we'll give her this one. And they were all laughing behind the scenes because she would just plow through it. One of the guys and the co-creator with Favreau comes from an anime background. He's a storyboard anime artist. And he was hired originally by George Lucas, who liked his anime work, to work on Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which of course he didn't believe it was Lucas. Series. He didn't believe that it was Lucas calling up because I don't know if you guys recall, but there was an earlier version of The Clone Wars that was a bad animation before CGI came out. Yeah. So he thought it was his friends pranking him until, of course, he's sitting next to Lucas.
That's great.
One of the episodes, too, in this Mandalorian thing, they talk about the legend of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, each one of these directors loves this material. And when the anime guy talks about the scene, he picks the worst. Everybody agrees. The young Anakin one when he's the little kid. And they introduce Obi-Wan young and Quan, whoever it was who played him. That fight with him and Darth Maul when he dies, well, there's a 7-minute explanation of that by this guy from anime, and I welled up hearing the explanation was so damn good. His grasp of the material is so good. I just went, he just explained Star Wars to me better than anybody with the worst Star Wars movie. So very good people are involved. The other thing, the technical aspect of it is kind of cool when you watch it, because what they do to get this effect, Jon Favreau has a lot of experience. He didn't just do the Iron Man movie in CGI. He
Yeah, he's done
also
a ton
did
of
the
shit.
Jungle Book live,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That, and he did what was the other one? The Jungle Book and the Lion King,
The Lion
you
King.
know,
Yeah.
with
Yep.
CGI. So he developed and invented, not invented, but worked with people to develop a lot of techniques. And one of the things that they did was they've got the technology. They build, as part of the set, these huge projection screens. They call it the dome. And when they're filming those scenes, because if you just film and put it up on big screens, it will look like shit. When they're filming that stuff, they do it in virtual headsets and stuff.
Yep.
So they go into gaming environments. They pride themselves on the fact that everything that they're using is not proprietary. They had nothing custom made. They went out and bought anything that's available, and they spent millions of dollars putting it together. So it's pretty amazing. And Doug is with us, I see. I got Doug Key coming in.
And as you were saying, it made me laugh because I'm wearing a shirt, the Star Wars, and looks like the Beatles, doesn't it? We were just talking about that beforehand, so that's kind of funny.
Abbey Road, the famous Abbey Road shot.
I like that better. I like that shirt better than the Beatles. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but yeah, definitely. No. I got respect, but just I'm not a fan.
No, the Beatles are like cheese. If you don't like it, it's ubiquitous. If you don't like cheese, they put cheese on everything. Suppose you don't like cheese. Just saying. But everybody likes cheese. No, I don't like cheese. You know what I mean? Hey.
There's handsome Doug.
Hey, boy. Sorry for the delay here.
Nah, no worries. No worries. We're all learning how to do this on the fly anyway, so.
No, you look great, Joe. Wow.
Hey, I mean, come on.
Look at that skin. You moisturize.
Nah, well, no, I'm just greasy. I'm a greasy Italian. That's it.
Oh, yeah, me too. Actually, I just found out I'm mostly Portuguese, which I wasn't surprised, but.
So, Doug, how you been?
I'm good, man.
Since I've seen you.
Yeah, it's been. I looked at our last messages, and we exchanged messages in 2013.
Wow, it's been that long. Holy shit.
That's before I moved. Long? Yeah, that's insane.
It seems like I just saw you too in the kitchen at Palos. So you're telling me that was, what year is this? Oh my God.
Almost a decade.
That was 7 years ago.
I know. I know. Yeah.
That's weird.
I've been living in New York for over 6 years now. I moved here in 2014 to do more comedy. And I moved here.
Then you got into the funny stuff. Like you're in the middle of the plague and you're working, I understand, in the healthcare field.
Yeah, I've been a comedian and a physical therapy assistant for over 10 years. I've been doing them both simultaneously. And I found a good balance between the two. You know, I work during the day and I do, clubs and stuff at night and on the weekends. But now there's no comedy happening. All the clubs are closed. And
there's comedy happening. It's just you can't do it on stage.
Yeah.
Come on. I would imagine you would have a wealth of things to joke about right now.
It is, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people getting real creative. A lot of comics putting out content. Starting podcasts.
I love Saturday Night Live. What they did with Saturday Night Live, I thought was brilliant. I mean, each one of those people, and they get better at it every week. Like they get a better microphone in the house. But one guy goes, "Yeah, my sister goes, you got to get a better mic." And so they're learning. But I mean, when what's her name, Kate McKinnon, she did, Chief Justice Ginsburg doing the workout. All she had was a doily wrapped around her, and she was using Q-tips. I mean, she ad-libbed with things she found around the house. That's brilliant. That's comedy.
But Doug, you've been doing some Zoom comedy shows and stuff too. I saw, right?
I've done a few, and they weren't. I thought they were going to be a nightmare, but it actually gave you the fix of hearing laughter through the computer screen. But it wasn't like it's nothing like it's like watching porn when you can just have sex. You know what I mean? Like it's not really. It gets you off, but it doesn't really feel good. So it's similar to that, but it's still good because we have all these ideas and these premises that we want to work out on stage. So, hearing laughter come through the screen and seeing little boxes of people sitting on their couch laughing, it fills the void for now.
Yeah. So, are you familiar with Desus and Mero from Showtime?
Yeah, I know Josh Gondelman, the Boston comedian. He writes for that show.
Okay, so last night, the Kid Mero was on Twitch streaming.
Okay.
And I told him I had a comedian on my show tomorrow that lives in the Bronx, and what should I ask? And he said to ask you what's the best block to hang out in the Bronx.
I wish I was cool enough to know the different neighborhoods and be brave enough to explore them all.
I get you.
Yeah. I live in like an Italian Albanian section, kind of near like the Bronx Zoo area, which is nice. It's called Morris Park Avenue. It's like an old Italian neighborhood, not too far from Arthur Avenue, which is like the real Little Italy, if you will.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of, I haven't really explored too much, but there's a lot of little hidden gems. The stairs from the Joker are in the Bronx.
Yep.
That's in a pretty rough area, so it's funny that there's a bunch of like comic book nerds and whatever going to like a rough part of the Bronx.
I heard it's pretty bad. They've actually talked about it on the show, and because I watch them quite a bit, I find them just absolutely hilarious. But they're like, yeah, go to the Bronx, go to the Joker stairs, get your picture taken, get mugged, you know.
Yeah, it's a package tour.
Yeah. As long as you're supporting a mom and pop shop in the area, you're good.
Yeah. So the Rogue Island Comedy Festival, from what I see, it's in October, Columbus Day weekend, correct?
Yeah, it's a festival I started in 2015 in Newport, and we do it every Columbus Day weekend. I don't know how it's going to pan out this year. With the there we go. Yeah, there's our beautiful website made from our Rhode Island's own Katie Latimer, who's our marketing director.
Nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
We kind of just latch on to already established venues in Newport, like old theaters and bars and art galleries and hotels, and we put on shows, and we get like 70 comics from all over the country for 5 nights, and we did 16 shows last year, multiple shows a night. So in true festival form, you're going from one show to the next. Some shows are overlapping, so it's super fun. It's like such a supportive atmosphere for comedy. Some festivals are like contests where it doesn't really create like a good vibe between comics, but this is like, it's a really good hang before, during, and after all the shows. So
yeah, everybody just hangs out. Yeah.
If you're a comedy fan, like we all party afterwards. So like, you're going to come see a show and then you could stick around after for the after party. And it's just, there's no other comedy festival in Rhode Island. So stand-up I know there's like an improv festival, but there's no stand-up comedy festival. So I figured I would just keep it going and try to grow it each year.
Yeah, and as of right now, I mean, obviously, we're in a very fluid environment at this point with the whole COVID shit.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's still on for 2020.
It's still like we still have intentions. The only problem is the venues that we use haven't opened yet. And when they do open, they're not even sure what the new policies are going to be about spacing of tables and chairs, which if you've ever been to a comedy show, you know that the atmosphere of a comedy club is very intimate and people are like shoulder to shoulder, and that's what makes it fun. And laughter's contagious, and if you have like these big gaps between people, there's a disconnect between the audience is like an organism, so when they feel disconnected, it's like it's a weird vibe. That's the only thing that we're going to have to improvise with
and work through. I mean, that's one thing that I've talked to. I've had some brewers on, I've had musicians on, I've had my second comedian on, and like I think we're all kind of adapting to this new virtual world and this new norm that they say. And in some ways I kind of dig it because, like you talked about podcasts earlier and a lot of comedians doing podcasts. I really dig the whole podcast thing. I listen to podcasts anyway. I mean, I listen to my own, I listen to, everybody at the station, but I've kind of gotten more into finding new ones, during this whole, search for virtual entertainment, if you will.
Of course. Yeah, people are hungry for it, man. People are like, they're bored out of their gourd at home, so they want things that they could listen to when they're just, cooking or cleaning or on the road, So there's a niche out there for everybody, and you've been in the game for I don't even know, a couple decades maybe.
But Bob will be 13 this year.
Okay, Doug. He's so old. He used to babysit Joe Rogan.
Who did?
Joe Farrell. He used to babysit Joe Rogan when he was a little kid. He taught him how to MMA fight.
Yeah,
he gave him his first microphone.
Maybe.
Well, he told him it was a microphone. It was really a dick in a box, but.
And for anybody watching that doesn't know or doesn't remember, or might even be too young to even remember, Doug and I used to host on Mondays on Blast.
That was great.
Mondays on Blast from the spot. Before that, Dan Martin was the host with Pal at the apartment.
Oh God!
But me and Doug, they put the two prettiest mother effers at WBOB together. Well, the pretty one and the entertaining one. He's funny.
I'll tell you what, though, I did not feel too pretty. Well, go ahead.
Some of the bands you guys developed are still around and very popular, believe it or not.
Oh, man.
That's a kind of tribute.
Yeah. There's some bands that were real killer, and I was so happy to see some of them. As far as what I did, for those of you who don't know, my job was to book a few comics each week to perform between musicians. Wasn't always the most ideal crowd.
Sounded like a good idea at the time.
It sounded like good, but you know what? I committed to it. Damn it!
You did.
I did. I did it for a whole year, and I was like, you know what? It's a challenge, and it's going to make me a better comic because I'm going up during basically an intermission between bands, and most of the time the audience was just the band members that were waiting to go up, or that just went up. Or they were or
the other comedians or
the
whatever,
other comedians, or the BOB staff or the bar staff.
We got some killer comedians out of that too. I mean, nothing else.
Yeah, but you know what? It was a Monday night and it's stage time. Any comic would jump, at the bit to just perform in front of anybody who's not a comic or just to work out material. So we got a lot of comics come and just, do a few minutes on a Monday night, and it was fun. I had a great time.
I had a great time doing it. I honestly loved it. It started to wear after a while. It's like, I gotta go. It's Monday. I gotta go out now. I gotta go out.
Yeah, well, no, it was tough. Yeah, you guys did it.
As soon as I got there, it was game on. Put the mic in the hand. Let's go. And I'm sure you feel the same thing. Get up on the stage. Like, I would love to do comedy, but I can't write worth of shit. So the commitment of writing jokes, I just don't think. I would love to do in theory, and I'm a huge. I watch all the Netflix shows, all the Netflix stand-up shows. I watch a ton of stuff on YouTube, and I would love to be a comedian, but I just can't. The commitment level of a comedian, I just don't have it. I don't think.
I'm a musician, so and I'm a drummer, so I get to hide behind a set of drums. Yeah. I don't think there is anything more frightening in this world than going up and doing 5 minutes stand up. I've emceed and I've bombed emceeing. And I know that feeling when you're doing your material and it's not working. Maybe you're not in the mood it must be, because you're alone. You can't hide behind the singer and go, that singer sucks. I'll just keep playing. It's you.
It's funny. So, I love bombing now. I don't know what it is. I think I was so nervous. I think that's when you know that you are comfortable as a comic, when you just embrace the bomb instead of afraid of it, because doing those shows, what's that?
It's like rope-a-dope. Muhammad Ali had to learn how to take a punch, right? In other words, if you can't get rope-a-doped against the ropes by George Foreman for 14 rounds, you're not going to kick his ass in the 15th. And things like the Thriller in Manila, or whatever that was called, or Zaire, I mean, that's history. And people will talk about it for centuries because the guy could take a punch. It's the same with the comic. If you could take a punch line or, and build it up, the hardcore, that's why comics are sad sometimes, creatures. I interviewed Jay Leno. I went to see Jay Leno. I used to write for the newspaper, and I got to interview him. And I said to him, no offense, Jay, but you're so boring. Like, and we both laughed. He understood, like he got the joke. He had done 3 hours, by the way, the night before. I called him in my article the Bruce Springsteen of comedy because his set went on forever. He was at the Odeum in New Bedford, which is a huge theater, sold out, and you could hear a pin drop when he quieted it down, and then after he did his act, he broke it into this kind of ad-lib thing where he let the audience talk. And it was some local stuff that happened because he's a Mass boy. And it was incredible. But when I talked to him, he was lethargic, down, and it was just because he was tired. He was doing a different one. He was on a 36-date tour of doing 3 hours a night.
It's work, man. Being on stage for an hour is like, it's exhausting. And, you know, that's why a lot of comics do crowd work, because they just want to take a break from like going into autopilot and delivering their material all the time. So they kind of just want to find the funny in the crowd, and that just mundane interactions back and forth with somebody. The audience will just laugh. There doesn't even have to be any jokes there, you know?
Yeah.
But man, it's not like when you first start, you're anxious, you're nervous, and then it just gets like, now I'm just more, I just anticipate. I just want to get up there, because once the lights hit you and you're up there, everything calms down. And when you bomb, it's almost like if you just address it, the audience is more on your side, you know?
True. Yeah.
If you're just like, oh, well, that one didn't work, the audience is like, he knows that one didn't
Johnny
work.
Carson.
So.
he knows without laughing. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
The king of late night, Johnny Carson, that he used to be known more. He was funnier when he bombed a joke on the Tonight Show sometimes than when the jokes in the monologue. The band would vamp. He'd go into a bad soft shoe, or he'd make some other joke. Letterman the same way. I mean, these guys could ad-lib it.
That's a whole shtick, is like the whole bombing comic, that like the joke is like clever. The joke is clever, but it's like cheesy. So it's like, you know, that's like a whole style. There's so many different variations of comics. Like, you know, when you say, oh, I want to be a comic, you never really know what type you want to be. You just have comics you admire. And when you start, you always have a comic that you like, you're kind of doing on stage when you first start. You kind of like, you know, emulate a certain person or a certain voice. And then eventually you kind of find your own voice. And that takes like, you know, almost 10 years.
That would be my worry, is that I watch so much comedy. And I know a lot of comedians, they don't watch a lot of comedy. Some don't anyway, because they don't want to, like you said, they don't want to emulate somebody else. They want to have their own kind of whatever.
It depends.
And that would be my worry.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was like musicians. You know, musicians and comics are almost the same. We like to see the bands we're playing with because we pick up things. We interact. Same. I mean, comics used to hang out with each other. At least back in the day, they used to. Letterman, Seinfeld, all those guys were friends. They were on the road together. By the way, speaking of two guys that were funny that just passed away, Fred Willard and
Jerry Stiller.
Jerry Stiller.
Yeah.
Childhood friend. You know, those two guys, when you get, Doug, wouldn't you agree? Also, when you're lucky enough that you've made it and you've spent 50 years in the business or 100 years, Fred Willard could just stare into a camera and I was already laughing. I mean, the guy never even had to. Yeah. And the same thing with Jerry. I mean, he could walk into a room, Ben Stiller's dad there, and I just stopped laughing right away. And maybe he even kind of did imagine the two characters that he did. If you take, he plays the father for the UPS guy there, whatever that show is, right? He was in two comedies. So he was Jerry's,
it was George Costanza's dad, right? Frank
right?
Costanza?
Yeah. And then he was Costanza's dad, but then also in the other, later on when Seinfeld was off the air, he was in that other show with that other comic that King of Queens. He was basically doing the same role, but totally different take.
Yeah.
Totally different writing, totally different funny.
Right. All right.
That's pretty amazing.
So all right, so I got a real Bob in here because we're getting long form here. We kind of keep it we like to keep it a little short form on the videos, but I'll let Bob go first because it's going to take him 10 years. Bob, where can everybody find you? Listen to the music. Hit us with the socials for everybody out there in TV land.
Well, I'm not doing shit. No,
okay, sounds good. Next.
That's it. Oh, no, I have no band that can play out. I mentioned at the top of the show, I'll be advertising it more, but I've been doing tracks for people. People are sending us their music, the BPMs. We're bringing back tracks. That's what I've done 3 albums since this. Remember, it's been over 70 days, guys. That's almost, we're going on 100 days.
I lost count. I stopped. I don't even know what today is.
In 3 weeks, guess what I'm going to have done? I'm going to have walked 1,000 miles since January 1st. In 3 weeks. At the
Bob, I just realized that your background is the Oval Office, and it looks like you're about to clean the carpets or something.
I am. You think that's what I get my money from? The extra 600. Trump's got
the Secret Service has not tackled into the ground yet.
Trump is very neat. He doesn't leave waste. He doesn't smoke, drink, or anything. So I'm telling you, he's very neat.
Okay.
Okay, Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Doug, hit us up with the socials. Where can everybody find you? Where can everybody find the comedy that you're doing or the comedy that you have done? Hit us off.
Yeah, man. Just follow me on Instagram. I'm probably the most active on that, at Douglas Key. Twitter, Doug Key Comedy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you live in Rhode Island, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners and viewers do, the Rogue Island Comedy Festival takes place in Newport, Columbus Day weekend. I think that's October 10th this year. I don't know, whatever it is, but yeah, come to Newport in October. And yeah, there's my Twitter. I gotta start tweeting a little bit more. I suck at that, but yeah, and then come see me live. I'm at the Comedy Connection a lot in East Providence when they open back up, so just give me a follow, and yeah, I post all my stuff there.
Yeah, definitely check out Doug's honestly, I don't want to blow your head up or anything, but Doug is definitely one of the funniest comedians I've worked with.
Thank you, man.
And we've had the times that we did with the co-host in the Mondays on Blast. We had a good time making fun of people in the crowd and just having a good time. I think we'd be a good comedy act together. Good team. I don't know.
Hey, we can experiment now. It's a pandemic 2020. We can do there's no rules anymore. So
that's true. This might stop my comedy career.
It could, and it could end. It could end just as quickly.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, all the listeners and viewers. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Hit up these guys. Great musician, one of the best musicians in Rhode Island's history, and one of my favorite goddamn comedians, Doug Key. And thank you. This has been the COVIDCast number 7. Make sure you check back every week for more content. Make sure you check our 990WBOB.com for all the reads, all the podcasts, all the past casts, the whole 9. Thank you for watching.
Support these guys. They're good. They're good at what they do, and they're loyal to the arts.
Amen.
All right. Peace out.
Yeah, I got my 100,000.